and welcome to our 30-minute yoga flow class. We're going to get started in a comfortable cross-legged seated position. You're welcome to sit onto a block or onto a cushion. Just find a comfortable position to start our practice. So placing the backs of the hands onto the knees, closing the eyes, allowing the shoulders to roll back and down, and finding some length through the spine. Bringing our awareness to our breath, taking a moment to connect, inhaling through the nose, filling the belly, the chest, and then slowly releasing the breath out through the nose again. And again, deep inhalation, fill the belly, fill the chest, and slowly releasing the breath out through the nose. Do one more deep inhalation. Draw the breath all the way down. And as you exhale, squeezing with the deep abdominal muscles, emptying out the lungs. For the next inhalation, slowly drop the right ear to the right shoulder, finding a little stretch into the left side of the neck. And with the exhalation, tuck chin to chest, rolling over to the left side. We'll inhale to roll back to the right. And exhale over to the left. Let's go one more in each direction. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale to bring chin to chest, dropping the forehead down towards the floor. Interlocking the fingers, placing the backs of the hands onto the back of the head. And just allowing the weight of the hands to deepen the stretch down the neck, into the shoulders. It's not pulling or tugging, just getting a gentle stretch. As we inhale, we'll flare the elbows open to the ceiling, squeezing the shoulders together at the back and finding a slight arch into the spine. And as we exhale, tucking chin to chest, rounding through the spine. Inhale, opening up the elbows, finding a little arch into the back. And exhale, squeezing all the air from the belly, rounding, almost finding a cat back here. Inhale, two more. Feel the stretch into the chest, the shoulders, and exhale to round. And last one, deep breath in. And exhale. And inhaling to our neutral seated position. You can slowly blink open the eyes. Take the arms out in line with the shoulders. We'll do some gentle rolls to the outside. Just waking up the wrists. And changing direction. And keeping the right hand extended in front of you. Left hand just going to take hold and just gently work the knuckles down towards the floor. So you get a stretch into the front of the forearm. And release, and we'll go over to the left. Right hand guides the left knuckles down. Feel the stretch into the forearm. And release, shaking out the hands. We're going to roll over into our box shape, bringing the knees underneath the hips, the hands underneath the shoulders. We'll do some gentle cat-cows to start. So as we inhale, dropping the belly to the floor, rolling the shoulders back and down, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and the head looks up. As we exhale, tuck the chin to the chest, start to press yourself away from the floor, tucking the tailbone under, rounding through the spine. Inhale, drop the belly. Head looks up. Feel the stretch across the top of the abdomen. Exhale, rounding through the spine, separating the shoulder blades. And last one, inhale. And exhale. And inhaling back to a neutral position. The next inhalation is going to take our right hand all the way up to the ceiling. And as we exhale, we're going to scoop that arm through the gap created by the left, coming onto the right shoulder. Using the left hand to perhaps get a little deeper into the twist. And maybe even see if we can walk those right fingertips that little bit further towards the left side. You can adjust the left hand, either bringing it to the top of the mat or perhaps up and over, finding a bind, taking hold of that right thigh. So just finding a position that feels good for you, where you can feel a big stretch into the back of the shoulder. And just allowing the body to settle down here for 5 breaths. Noticing with the inhalation how that stretch intensifies into the back of that right shoulder. And with the exhalation, just allowing the body to soften and deepen. Bringing that awareness to the breath, seeing if we can deepen that inhalation. And if we can slow down that exhalation. 2 more breaths. And last one. Bring the left hand under the left shoulder, gently press yourself back up to the tabletop position. And we'll move over to the left. Inhale, send the left arm all the way up. As we exhale, scoop it through under the right. And again, using the right hand to adjust how deep you get into the posture. Perhaps walking the left fingertips a little further if body allows. And finding that spot that we feel the stretch, but there's no discomfort or pain. It's very important throughout our practice today to never have any pain in the body, to just be very mindful. Enjoying the deep stretch into the backs of the arms, the gentle twist into the spine. Maybe making those adjustments with the right arm to either ease out of the posture or get a bit deeper into it. And just allowing the body to sink down. And slowly bring your right hand under right shoulder, and we'll gently press up to that tabletop position. Walk the hands towards the front of the mat. We'll press the belly back towards the thighs and melt the chest down towards the floor, finding our puppy dog pose. So the chest, you might be up here, that's fine. Otherwise, trying to work the belly back towards the thighs and the chest to the mat. Big stretch into the backs of the arms, into the shoulders. You can come onto the chin or perhaps onto the side of the face if that's more comfortable. Here for 2 more breaths. And slowly coming back up into that tabletop position. We'll step back the legs one at a time to find our high plank. Tucking the tailbone under, pressing ourselves away from the mat, making sure we're gripping into the mat with all 5 fingers. Deep inhalation. As we exhale, lift the hips, finding our first downward dog. Walking out our dog, bending one leg at a time, pedaling out the legs. We're reaching the belly towards the thighs, finding some length into the spine. So if you need to, you can keep both legs generously bent, especially if we're just getting started and the body might still be a bit stiff. Keep walking out the legs. And slowly coming to stillness, we'll start to walk the hands back towards the feet. Keeping a generous bend into the knees, take hold of opposite elbows, finding a ragdoll position. Hang nice and heavy, and you can gently rock from side to side. Just feeling the lower back, the hips, the glutes, the hamstrings starting to awaken. Letting the head hang heavy, like a coconut getting ready to fall from a tree. Releasing the elbows, start to walk yourself back into that high plank position. And we'll drop down onto the knees and tucking the toes. Inhale to prepare, and as we exhale, keeping the elbows as close as we can to the ribcage, slowly lowering down. Chin and chest first, then belly. Roll the shoulders away from the ears, and as we inhale, float the hands off the mat, lifting the chest and shoulders. As we exhale, pressing through the hands, bringing the bum over the heels, tucking the toes, and lifting into that downward dog. We're going to inhale to rise up onto the tippy toes, and like a wave crashing onto the shore, roll ourselves into a high plank position. As we exhale, Release the knees onto the mat, untuck the toes, and lower down through our baby chaturanga. Inhale, shoulders back and down, floating the hands off the floor, squeezing those shoulder blades together. Exhale, lower. Press the bum back over the heels, tuck the toes, and lift up into downward dog. One more. Inhale, roll forward. Find that high plank position. Exhale, maybe dropping the knees or lowering all the way down through our plank. Through our full chaturanga. Inhale, this time pressing into the hands and rising up perhaps a little higher if the back allows into our cobra. And exhale, lowering down, bum to heels, tuck the toes, find that downward dog. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open up the mouth and sigh it out with a inhale, send the right leg up to the ceiling, and as we exhale, we're going to bend the knee, bringing the right heel towards the left buttocks. Try to square the shoulders, so keeping the weight evenly distributed between the hands, not rolling over towards the left side. Just allowing the front of that right thigh to open up and enjoying the stretch into the right hip. Inhale to return back to our three-legged dog, and as we exhale, squeeze the knee into the chest. See if you can step it between the hands, helping it if you need to. Lowering down onto the back knee and tucking the toes, and we'll walk our way up into a low lunge position. So you're welcome to use some blocks here if you need. You can place a cushion underneath that back knee, or you can fold your mat double. So with our lunge, instead of just pressing hips down towards the floor and overarching our spine, I want you to rather tuck the tailbone, so almost rounding through the spine, and then picture drawing the heels together. That's really going to get into those left hip flexors. So either staying here or reaching the arms around and behind, interlocking the fingers and taking a very small back bend with the inhalation. As we exhale, releasing the hands, framing the front foot, and slowly extending the right leg, straightening it up, bringing the weight into the left knee. Just getting into that hamstring. The knees bent, that spine just coming as far as is comfortable for you. If you'd like a little bit more, flexing into the front toes, and then walking the hands over to the right side. Feel that stretch into the right ITB band. We'll slowly come back to center, this time placing the right hand on the inside of the foot. You can heel toe the foot to the edge of the mat, finding a lizard pose. We'll keep the left hand under the left shoulder. Inhale to send that right arm all the way up, and as we exhale, take a twist. Option here to bend into the back leg, catch the foot, only if that feels good for you. Otherwise, just keep that hand extending to the back of the room. Releasing the back foot, cartwheeling the hand. Bringing both hands onto the mat, tucking the back toes, lifting up, and we're going to step back into our plank. Exhale, lowering all the way down onto our bellies. Inhale, shoulders backing down, pressing into the hands, finding our cobra pose. And exhale, pressing bum to heels and working our way up to our downward dog. Inhale, send the left leg up. Exhale, opening up the hip, dropping the heel towards the right buttocks, and trying to keep the shoulders the weight equally distributed between them. Doing a big opening into the left hip. And as we inhale, send that leg back up. Three-legged dog. Exhale, squeeze the knee into chest, step it between the hands. Slowly lowering down the back knee and tucking the toes, and walking our hands up to that lunge. So if you need to fold the mat or put a pillow under the knee, please make sure to do so. Tucking the tailbone, finding that deep stretch into the right hip flexors. An option to stay here or reach the hands around, shoulders back and down, finding that very small back bend. And exhale, release the hands, frame that front foot. We'll gently bring the weight into the back knee, finding that half split. So maybe the knees bent, that's fine, especially one side might be a lot tighter than the other, so just working with your body. Otherwise, flexing into the toes, seeing if perhaps we can walk the hands over to the left side. So you might feel the stretch a little bit more into the buttocks, maybe even into the knee. That's that ITB band talking. Slowly coming back to center, placing the left hand on the inside, little heel toe that foot to the outside, and inhale, sends that left arm up to the ceiling. So option to stay here, or slowly finding that twist. Option to get even further by bending that back leg, catching the foot, opening up through the chest and shoulders. Slowly releasing, circle the hand back and down, placing both hands onto the mat, tuck the back toes, step back into your plank, and let's find that chaturanga. Keeping the elbows into rib cage, using that full exhalation, lowering all the way down, and tucking toes, shoulders away from ears. Inhale into our cobra. As we exhale, bring the thumb over the heels, tuck the toes, lift up, find that downward dog. With the inhalation, bend the knees, look between the hands, and we'll walk ourselves to the front of our mat. Keeping the feet hip distance apart, so it's 2 fists in between. Take hold of the big toes with the index and middle fingers, finding a peace grip. And we'll inhale to find some length into the spine. And as we exhale, hinging from the hips, bringing the belly towards the thighs and letting the head hang heavy. You can bend the knees as much as you need here. Trying to keep the weight into the toes. And just enjoying the big stretch into the backs of the legs. Just observing where you feel the posture working. Inhale to come up halfway, releasing the grip onto the toes, tucking knees to chest, and then really pressing through the feet. We'll roll up one vertebra at a time. Head and chin come up last, and extend the hands all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up, maybe taking a very small back bend. And as we exhale, we're going to swan dive the chest forward, coming into that forward fold. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, fingertips onto the floor, onto the shins, coming into a halfway lift. And as we exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, step back into that plank. Inhaling to prepare, and as we exhale, find the chaturanga. Inhale, find our up dog or cobra. And exhale, pressing back into that downward dog. Inhale, sends the right leg up to the ceiling, and as we exhale, squeeze the knee to the chest, step it between the hands. Staying onto the fingertips, keeping that left leg lifted, we'll inhale to rise up to our high crescent lunge. Shoulders away from ears and on the balls of the back toes. Deep breath in, and as we exhale, let's find our warrior 2. Just checking that the front knee is not collapsing in and that we're pressing through the edge of the back foot. The heel of the front foot's in line with the arch of the back foot. We'll inhale to reach as far forward as we can, flip the front palm, and as we exhale, just find that reverse warrior, stacking the right shoulder on top of the left, finding some length into the side body. Inhale to slowly rise back up to that warrior 2 position. We'll reach the hands behind us, interlocking the fingers, making a fist. Shoulders roll back and down away from ears. Inhale to take the gaze up to the ceiling. And as we exhale, we're going to dive that right shoulder to inside of that right knee, just coming as far as is comfortable for the body. We'll start to work the arms up and over, finding a humble warrior. Keep the arms wherever is comfortable, so don't force anything. If it's here, that's also fine. Otherwise, keep working the fists as if you're trying to place them onto the floor in front of you. Inhale to slowly draw away, all the way up, releasing the hands and finding that warrior 2. Take the right toes to face forward, so just check that the feet are in line with each other, and place the hands onto the hips. Inhale, take the gaze up to the ceiling, and as we exhale, hinge from the hips, releasing the hands onto the floor. We'll inhale to come up halfway, and as we exhale, start to walk the hands back in line with the feet. Trying to keep the weight into the toes and allowing the head to hang heavy. Taking a moment to reconnect with that breath. We'll inhale to come up halfway, place the hands onto the hips and roll all the way up. Take the right toes to face the front, and we're going to step the left toes in half the distance. So just halving the distance between the 2 feet, turn the left toes 45 degrees so that the hips are facing front on, square. You don't want to open up to the side like in a warrior two. Take the hands behind the back, deep breath in, gaze is up, and as we exhale, we're going to slowly start to fold from the hips, bringing the belly towards the thigh, finding our pyramid pose. If this is too intense, you're also welcome to place the hands onto the floor or even up onto blocks. You can have a little bend into this front leg if you've got very tight hamstrings. So just finding a variation that works for you, that feels good for your body. Releasing the hands if they're behind the back, bringing them onto the mat. And we're going to find a standing split. So slightly bend into that front leg, start to rock the weight forward and lift up that left leg, keeping the hips as square as you can. Option to walk the hands back or to take hold of that right leg with the right hand if that feels good. And then we'll slowly step back into a runner's lunge, lowering down that left knee. Inhale, sweep those arms up. So tucking the tailbone under, rounding through the spine if we need to, drawing the heels together. And exhale, cartwheel the hands, tuck the toes, step back to your plank. Let's exhale to lower. Inhale to press up into our cobra or up dog. And exhale, lower down, bum to heels. Find your downward dog. Take a moment to reconnect with the breath, to walk out the legs. And just notice the difference between the left and the right side of the body. So staying in your downward dog, I'm just going to turn myself for the left side. Let's inhale to sweep the left leg up to the ceiling. And exhale, squeeze the knee into the chest, step between the hands. Inhale, rise up into your high crescent lunge. And as we exhale, we'll open up to our warrior two. Checking that the left knee is not sinking in. The arms are in one straight line. Maybe seeing if we can sink a little deeper. Inhale, reach that left arm as far forward as you can. And exhale, reverse that warrior. Walking the right fingertips down that back leg. Stacking the shoulders and finding that big stretch into the side body. Making sure that we're still keeping the 90 degrees in the front leg, so don't let it straighten up too much. Inhale, rise back to that warrior two. Reach the hands behind you, shoulders back and down. Inhale to take the gaze up, and exhale, let's find that humble warrior on the left. So this side of the body might feel very different to the other side, so just moving in a way that feels good for you. Keep working the hands onto the floor in front of you if the shoulders allow. Inhale to rise up, releasing the hands and bringing the toes parallel. Bring the hands back onto the hips. Inhale, take the gaze up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, finding that forward fold. This time we're going to take hold of the big toes with the index and middle finger. We'll inhale to come up halfway and exhale to deepen into our forward fold. Again, if you need that bend into knees, please make sure to do so. Otherwise, really keeping the weight into the toes and working the belly back towards the thighs, the crown of the head towards the floor. Elbows are bulging out to the side. We'll inhale to come up halfway, hands on hips, and then all the way up. Take the left toes to the front again. I'm going to jump that right, hop that right foot in, halving the distance. Square off the hips. Again, option to hold onto the elbows or you can have the fingers on either side of the foot. Inhale, gaze up, exhale, hinge. Find our pyramid pose. So if this is too intense, you can also hold on to some blocks or books, whatever you have available, as long as it's something that's kind of similar in size. And if you're holding onto the elbows, you can release the fingertips down, framing the front foot, slight bend into left knee, lifting up the right, finding our standing split, maybe walking the fingers back in line with the foot, maybe holding onto the left calf. So you don't have to go too far here. Just getting some activation into the glute. And then we'll step back, lowering down into that low lunge. Lift the hands up, tuck the tailbone. Deep breath in. And exhale. Frame that front foot, tuck the toes, step back into plank. Exhale to lower down for our last chaturanga. Inhale to find our up dog or cobra. And exhale. Just coming briefly into child's pose. Just taking a moment to catch the breath. And then we'll slowly start to press ourselves into our downward dog position. Inhale to send the right leg up to the ceiling, and as we exhale, squeeze the right knee in towards the right wrist. I'm going to place the shin diagonally onto the mat with the right ankle coming over towards the left side. Walk the left toes back. And we'll find our pigeon pose. So you may need a block here underneath the right buttocks, or a pillow works just as well. And we want to try and keep the hips as square as possible so we're not rolling over too far to the right or too far to the left. If you're comfortable here, you can slowly start to lower down onto the elbows. If you have any pain or discomfort in the knee, you can just come back up onto the hands, adjust the angle of that front leg, and then slowly try lower down again. Or you can also just stay up onto the fingers. So with this one, the more parallel the leg is with the front of the mat, the deeper the stretch is into the hip. So just coming to a level that feels good for you. So when we hold our poses a little bit longer, it helps us get into the deep connective tissue. So we're just using our breath to guide us and help us get deeper into the posture. Just allowing gravity and the weight of the body to help us sink down, stretch deep into that right hip. And slowly rise back up onto our hands, tucking the toes and lifting all the way back up into that downward dog. Inhale, sends the left leg up to the ceiling. As we exhale, squeeze the left knee in towards the left wrist. The left ankles are on the right side of the mat, and we walk that right leg back as far as we can. Checking that the hips are square. Take a moment to perhaps put that pillow underneath that left buttocks if we need. And once we're comfortable, maybe lowering down onto the forearms. This is a great stretch for any sciatic pain that you might have, which is that referring pain all the way down from the buttocks into the legs. So maybe the side of the body is a little tighter than the other side. Maybe you can't come down further than here. Just be mindful of that. So not expecting the body to always be the same on both sides. So maybe you need to adapt or modify pose for one side of the body. That's fine. Maybe this side you can get the forehead all the way down onto the mat. If you are on the elbows or your forehead is on the floor, we'll slowly make our way up onto our hands, and we'll roll over onto the left buttocks and sweep the right leg round so that both legs are facing forward. Give the legs a little shake. And we'll slide, keep the left leg long, slide the right sole of the foot into the inner thigh. Squaring off the shoulders, inhale to send the hands up to the ceiling, and as we exhale, come down, square over that front leg. So taking hold of the foot, the ankle, the calf. If you have a strap, you can place that around the foot, and you can use anything if you don't have a strap, even your apron string. If you would like to get a bit deeper, perhaps using a block or a pillow to draw the foot in towards you. And just check that right shoulder's going to want to pop up. Just trying to keep the shoulders equal and level. And really using the breath here to help you get a bit deeper into this posture. Using the exhalation to soften, to melt down. Just enjoying that big stretch into the back of the leg. The inhalation will rise our hands all the way up to the ceiling, and we'll exhale into a twist, taking the left hand onto the right knee, right fingertips behind. Inhale to lengthen, sit up tall, and exhale to twist. Slowly inhale to unravel. Sending the right leg out in front of us, bringing the left leg in. Inhale, send the arms up to ceiling, square with the shoulders, and exhale to fold forward. So again, just coming down as far as your body allows. Even if you're sitting here, that's absolutely fine. Keeping that back flat as you can. Otherwise, with the exhalation, seeing if you can maybe melt a little deeper, but not pushing to any point of pain. If you'd like to get deeper still, you can use that block to draw the heels, the foot in towards you, or you can place it underneath the heel to get even deeper into this posture. Using the exhalations of the body to guide you deeper into the posture. Slowly inhale to rise up, and as we exhale, let's find that twist over to the left side. Right hand on the left knee, left fingertips behind. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, see if maybe you can twist that a little bit deeper. Check that the right shoulder's not creeping up towards the right ear. And we'll slowly unravel back to center. Send the left leg out to meet the right. Just give it a little shake. Maybe moving your blocks or pillows out the way. Bring the hands one hand distance behind you, bend into the knees. And as you inhale, press through the feet, lift the hips, drop the head, find our reverse tabletop. And we'll slowly lower down. Extending the legs out in front of us, and we'll roll as slow as we can, using those deep abdominal muscles to find our way onto our backs. So just before we set up for our Shavasana, just taking a gentle spinal twist. So drawing the right knee up into the belly, interlocking the fingers. Finding some length into the lower back. And holding onto the right knee with the left fingertips, right hand comes out to the side. We'll inhale to prepare, and as we exhale, we'll gently coax that right knee over to the left side, keeping the right shoulder on